Hi everyone, I have been asked by a couple of group members to show you how to make one of these. I have two different ones currently on hand. This one is the first one I ever made, and it's a much simpler way of making it. But I don't feel like this is quality to sell, so I have changed some things since making that one. And this one here is a commission piece for somebody else. So to show you how to start, I'm going to start with showing you how to make the easier one, and then you can decide which one you want to make. What you're going to need for this is a set of leather gloves, because you will cut yourself. You're also going to need a pair of tin snips. I couldn't find mine, so I've been using gardening shears, and they've been working, but they're a little tough. I've been using a pair of pliers. I've been using a pair of needle nose pliers, pair of wire cutters, pair of scissors, dowel rods, E6000 glue, and I've been using these Velcro strips from Dollar Tree. You're also going to need two of these pans, and they're going to go together like this. And then I used a handsaw to cut my dowel rods down to size. To start, I'm going to show you how I cut these to make the lip for the inserts. Now, they are a little tough to get through, so be patient and take your time. And what I did was I popped the edge, cut through it like that to give me a lip, and then you bend it to fold that in. You want to try and make it as straight as possible. And then once you've done that, you take the bottom pan and you attach it to the top pan. Make sure that you line up the bottoms. In order to attach it to where it will stay together, you don't want your base to sink into the lip of the bottom pan. So that's when you're going to take your popsicle sticks, put one on top of the other two, hot glue them down, and then try to get it in here to where you can see it. Glue them to your top pan. So you're going to glue popsicle sticks right here, and you want them to hang out to be the wheels. That's going to give you something to set the truck bed on, to where it stands out like this, and it's all the same dimension by using your popsicle sticks. Once you have your popsicle sticks on, you're going to put E6000 glue here, and along the bottom, put it on your popsicle sticks, and you're going to attach it to the cab of the truck. Make sure that you line it up, and if it goes the same way it has for me, it stayed perfectly fine without hot glue, and I just set some books on top of it until it cured. You want to peel your stickers off, and then once it's glued together, I painted the truck the desirable color that I was looking for. Before painting it, I took the edges and I just bent them in to give it the rounded corners. This one is nice because it's not sharp and it's not going to cut anybody. These here corners I sanded down to make sure that there was no little fine metal hairs sticking off of it, to where nobody would get cut, and then when I put paint on it, it's no longer sharp. To make this one, I completely curled this edge all the way around to inside the pan. I used a piece of foam board in each one, hot glued it around the edge, and then curled the metal over the top. When you put your hanger on it, you want to make sure that you put your hanger here on the metal, because if you put it on the foam board, eventually that foam board's going to pull out. In order to make this one, maybe it's not going to be hard since I'm showing you how to do it, but I found it to be a little more difficult. I cut the edges into 3 or 4. Whoop. Like this. And then, so as not to hurt myself, especially now that I don't have gloves on, after telling you to wear gloves, I grabbed each corner and I just bent them in. Once it's cut, it bends pretty easy. Now you want to put your foam board in here first and hot glue it down before you bend over your edges. And then you want to go back and you want to make sure that none of these edges are sharp. And if they are, take your needle nose pliers, clip it to the edge, and fold it under. Just kind of curl it. I'll try and show you on this edge. Just kind of curl it under like this. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of curled under. Anyways, you want to make sure that you have no sharp edges because you don't want anybody to get cut on it. Then, on this one, this is metal. This is a part of the pan. So to make it, pull this back out. You do want to bend it in first, but then you want to bend it back out without cutting yourself, preferably. This is why gloves are necessary. So to make it where the metal is the lip, I cut all the way to the center of the pan. I don't worry about bends or scratches because to me this is an antique truck. And all those little dents and dings and bends and scratches just make it, to me, look older. And then you can paint it to give it that effect. So you want to bend this all the way out, like so. And then take your dowel rod before you cut it. Stick it in here like this. And then you're going to curl that edge over it. And it's going to give you the raised lip for the tailgate. Now once I've done that and made it nice and round, pull this up just a touch, enough to slide out your dowel rod. And then I cut this to actually fit in there. And I made it just a tad bit longer on both sides and inserted it back in there. So if you see here, this is dowel rod, this is dowel rod, this is the metal of the truck lip. And the reason why I did that is because I didn't want anybody to cut themselves on this piece of metal. And then I went through and I sanded all my edges just to make sure that they weren't sharp. And once you paint it, you can barely tell that anything's there. And I don't think it really affects the overall look. You can paint your window into place. You can paint your taillights. You can make this however you want. And you can also go to Dollar Tree and find chipboard items. And you can find small round circular pieces to make all these other things. These are made of wood, and it's 2 layers of wood. The bottom one is the white piece and the top piece is the red. And then I just painted them and tried to make them look old. And then in the center, I'm going to show you on the other one. I use the Velcro strips. When using these Velcro strips from Dollar Tree, I believe they come 8 in a pack. There is a small section right here that is the rough portion of the Velcro. This is the piece that you want to take off and stick onto the truck bed. And then this soft piece is the piece that you want to cut into multiple strips and hot glue onto the back of your license plates. And the reason for that is because you only have this small piece and you can get more use out of the whole Velcro strip if you use this on the truck. I had originally bought the dots that they sell at Dollar Tree, but they don't hold nearly as well, and my license plates were falling off. Plus I had to paint them black, and I don't know if the paint may have caused an issue with my Velcro strips sticking together or not, but I wanted to make them match my truck. So I highly recommend getting these strips instead. To make my different inserts, they're not finished. I still have 6 more or 7 more of these to make, plus license plates for this person. I used wood, and I drew out all the images, and then I used my laser cutter to cut them, and then I glued them one on top of the other just to give it that 3-dimensional look. And I just used hot glue with Gorilla Glue hot glue strips to put it all together. I did attach legs to some of them because behind the lip there is a blank space. And if somebody wants to hang this outside, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to fall out. If you don't want to do that, or you do this way instead, you can keep them without the legs, and they kind of just sit right in there like so. Most of the ones that I make to sell, I only make with 4 different inserts and 4 different license plates to match. One for spring, summer, winter, and fall. But for this person, they wanted one for each month to change out. The license plate was hand drawn, and then the lettering, because I'm not good with letters, I used my Cricut Maker and I drew it out, and then I put it into my laser and I etched it into the wood license plates. For Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day, I used the exact same file. And I just painted this one into clovers, and I painted this one into hearts. And then these pieces that are raised are actually what this piece is that's behind the first cut. And I just cut it twice for the hearts, and then put one on top of the other, and then added a little piece of wood behind it to make it stick out and look 3D. I made this one wrong. I put these 2 front panels up too high so you could see the bottom line when it was stuck in a truck. So I wrapped it in the jute cord. If you mess up on a project, you can fix it so many different ways. Don't scrap your ideas. Just figure out a way to fix it. To me, this looks much better with the jute and then the curls of the ribbon hanging down, the bow hanging down. And also, because these are metal, they are magnetic. So if you want to use magnets on the back rather than Velcro strips, you can. Or you could turn this into a memo board, put little notes on it or something like that. If you guys have any other questions, I would love to answer them for you and show you more on how to make these. They do take a little bit of time. I'm actually going to a new design to sell in bulk of just wood. It's just flat. I I don't know if I like it better or not. The inserts do stand up a little better in it. They're easier to manipulate to where I can make a whole bunch of them for people. So this is my newest design. And it's all out of wood. For the bunny, I put 3 pieces of wood behind the feet to make them raised. This is the thickness of the wood that I use. It's 3mm birch. So I stack these on top of each other to give it a 3-dimensional look. I'm sure that you can come up with something because you guys are very crafty and creative. But I just wanted to show you some of the different ones that I had done. Most of my paint is from Dollar Tree. I do have some chalk paint that I use, but for the majority of the project, I just use Dollar Tree paint. It does take a couple coats on some of the paint, like yellows, but other than that, it held pretty good. So that's the end of my tutorial. I hope to see lots of these and lots of these onto the Dollar Tree craft page. I would love to see what you've come up with, any modifications you've made, and how we can make these better and make them faster. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. This is a dowel rod. This is a dowel rod. And this is a dowel rod. So on the easier truck, if you don't want to make the lip like this for the top to put your inserts in, I just use a dowel rod. And it's not necessary, but it does, in my opinion, give it a better look. And then the bottom one is a dowel rod that I just painted as well. And then I also put the dowel rod here for the bumper on the red one. I think that's it. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I would love to see the Dollar Tree page fill up with trucks. Bye.